My name is Gavin Evans, and this is my review of Lara Croft Tomb Raider, the 2001 movie. And this is a movie that I always defended for the longest time. Whenever people were talking about the best video game movies, I always put this one at the top of the list just because of the cheesy, over-the-top factor of it. But I just rewatched it for the first time in like a decade, and no, I was wrong. This movie is very bad. But let's begin talking about the positives. And I'm not the biggest Tomb Raider fan. I haven't played any of the games that were out before this movie was. But I have played the newest games. And based on my limited knowledge of this franchise, they take certain things from the games and puts them in the movie very well. Like the mansion looks like the mansion. She's got her two guns, and some of the outfits look like the outfits from the game. So I'll give the movie credit where it's due. And speaking of which, Angelina Jolie is perfectly casted in this movie. I'm not saying it's a great performance, but she was the right choice for this movie, absolutely. And I also do think there is a couple fun, over-the-top, cheesy action scenes. Like this movie begins and she's fighting this giant robot and you just can't help but laugh. And there's another fight scene where some people are breaking into the mansion and she's just swinging around on this warp, and it's absolutely hilarious just how over the top it is. But everything else in this movie is relentlessly boring. Just bored out of my mind while watching it. I was sitting on the couch and I was watching the movie with my eyes, but I wasn't taking anything in because I was just so bored. I wasn't engaged with the adventure element. I didn't care about any of the emotional beats. I didn't care about any of the characters. I don't think this movie has any bit of personality. I don't think it has any energy. It's just a dreadfully dull movie. It kind of reminds me of the Resident Evil movies. Like, lots of people defend those. They say they're just fun, turn off your brain movies. But anytime I've given them a chance, I'm just bored out of my mind. Like, there's lots of edits and there's lots of action, but it's not entertaining by any means. And that's the case with this movie as well. And for a movie that's apparently an adventure movie, there's hardly any adventure element in it. The movie takes forever to get going, and by the time the plot actually kicks in, she finds this big room, and they're there for what feels like a half hour. It's probably not that long, but it truly feels like it. And then they get out for just a little bit, and then they go into another big room, and that's it. The movie's done. Time to go home, folks. You saw everything the movie has to offer you. That's the best you can do. First of all, this movie should have began with her on another adventure. But, have her find clues that take her all over the place. Not just these two separate big rooms. That's just not exciting. Have a scene where she discovers some catacombs and she's in these underground tunnels. Or where she's going from the jungle environment to something in the desert, to the mountains, to by the sea, just something like that, so the movie feels big. If you take a movie like National Treasure, which I do really enjoy, they find one clue that leads them to another place, and they spend time on each clue, and it just makes for a very fast-paced, entertaining movie. Same with Indiana Jones. Even Temple of Doom, which takes place mainly in one location, they keep discovering new things in that location, and they keep finding ways to keep the movie interesting. While this movie is just stagnant throughout, and it just has little progress, little evolution. It's just a one-note movie, and the adventure elements should have been better. And yes, I said I like some of the over-the-top action scenes, but when they start relying on CGI for the action, this movie becomes laughable and not in a fun way. When the statues come alive or whatever, I was just like, what are they doing? This isn't interesting, and if you don't have the budget to make something look right, then don't put it in your movie. Instead of them fighting a bunch of statues, just work on some practical monster effects and do it that way, not these ugly walk statues. Or there's a million ways you could have gone about it. Just find ways around it in your script, but they wrote for these big CGI heavy moments, and when they come, they are quite laughable to say the least. And if you want to talk about not holding up, you know what else doesn't hold up in this movie? The music. Remember when you put on a DVD and sometimes you get that commercial for Don't Pirate? That's what the music in this movie all sounds like. It sounds like it's trying so hard to be edgy and cool, and it just makes it feel very dated to a laughable degree. So that didn't work for me, and the cast doesn't do a bad job. Like, you've got Angelina Jolie, Jon Voight, and I like the fact that they got her actual father to play her father in this movie. I like it when movies do that. You've got Ian Glenn, Noah Taylor, and Daniel Craig, and no one does a bad job, but they're just given such weak material that they just can't do anything with it. You can see them trying, but they don't succeed. But yeah, this movie really didn't do anything for me. I think it's dated and laughable in the worst kind of ways. I don't think it has any bit of energy or personality to it. It's very poorly directed by Simon West. The script is just a bunch of nonsense, and it's convoluted, and you don't care about anything going on. And considering what kind of movie this is, an adventure movie, it should have been infinitely more entertaining. So yeah, this is a very bad movie. It is not one of the best video game movies ever made. I was incorrect about that. So I'm going to go ahead and give Lara Croft Tomb Raider a 3 out of 10. Actually, one positive that I did forget to mention was the scene where she walks into the auction and she just sits down at a chair and then she grabs the one in front of her and puts her feet on it. I thought that was funny, but yeah. But anyways, have you seen Lara Croft Tomb Raider? What did you think about it? Let me know in the comments down below. Make sure you like, make sure you comment, make sure you subscribe. Stay tuned for some more videos soon, and Gavin out.